So I don't think Hinge.
Hinge is pretty new.
Yeah, so I probably should use like Bumble or something instead of Tinder. But whatever. Hindsight's 2020, and now I am happily with somebody.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just to inform everyone. So, do you want to talk about how you met Lane? Or
Yeah. So summer of 2018, and throughout. So first of all, for context, a lot of my friends and I were all home for the summer working internships. I was working an internship at Northwestern Mutual, working that downtown 9 to 5, and, a lot of other buddies were doing something similar.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, I had a buddy, shout out Brady Schneider, and a buddy's girlfriend, shout out Josh Wentland and Kayla Travia. Girlfriend at the time, I suppose, maybe I should clarify. But, and they worked for FIS. They interned for FIS, and so did Lane. And this whole summer, watch out there. We got a wild studio right now. Maddie's just throwing things around.
Yes.
But I just kept being told throughout the whole summer by Brady, Josh, and Kayla, oh, we work with this one girl, and she seems perfect for you. You both seem to have similar personalities. She's interested. You're both looking for somebody, and for June and July, I was yeah, please, I'd love to meet this girl. Just, let me know how I can, meet her up or get her number or whatnot, right? And, for most of the summer, unfortunately, nothing much came to it. But then finally August comes around, and this girl gets brought up again, and, I kind of start getting a little bit more insistent. And what's the bummer is, in the end, all that I got was Brady just sent me her Instagram account and was go DM her. And I was dude, you could have done that a while ago. But I've given him enough. I've given him enough shit for that over the past couple of years. So
yeah.
I don't want to give him too much shit here on the podcast here. But anyhow, so I did have to literally slide into her DMs.
Oh God.
Which I wasn't super happy about, because I was this doesn't feel like a great start. Because slight dating thing, I don't feel, and maybe why I struggled with dating apps. I don't feel like I present well through texting. I feel like I need at least my voice, if not my body language, to really kind of portray what I'm saying, especially when I'm wanting to be romantic. So I was already I don't know about this. But, fortunately, she was definitely interested. So fortunately, we exchanged some Instagram messages, and when I brought up the idea of, doing an in-person date, she was all for it. And so it was kind of a semi-blind date. I mean, I had never actually physically... I might have been getting, fished by my, catfished by my friends for all I knew as I was driving. I remember thinking as I was driving up to her place for the first date, I was I still don't technically know if this girl is even really real or not, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, first date went well, and kind of, just the rest was history, man. It was surprisingly good, and, fortunately, Josh, Kayla, Brady were all right. I mean, we did have good matching personalities, and, I've been happy for just a little over 2 years since.
Yeah. Awesome. And, she's really adapted into our family. We all love her. Maybe one day I'll bring a boy home, although I also think I might be that person at Thanksgiving for the next 30 years. People asking me, so you ever going to bring someone? You ever going to have a plus one? I don't know.
It's an easy fear to have, but don't let it control you too much. Because, in the end, right, and one thing that was really... when I think about my dating and romantic skills as they've grown, one thing that was really a big realization for me is you have to be careful with infatuation, or just that desire to be with somebody for the sake of being with somebody. Because if you be with somebody just to be with somebody, or because you feel like you need to date somebody, then you're not going to get the fulfillment that you seek out of the relationship, right? So, unfortunately for you, everybody walks different paths, right? And so, yeah, unfortunately for you, your path's been a little bit different. But you know what? I think it's for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself... Don't settle for something that isn't going to be fulfilling.
No, I agree. And, that's kind of why, one, I just think I'm in college. Things will come later in life. And two, I don't even know if, at this stage of my life, that's something I want. I I go back and forth. It depends how the wind is blowing that day, if I, like, think I would want a boyfriend, but...
There is something to be said for the strategy of never dating college, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't for me, because I don't know, I'm maybe the rare exception of a dude who I don't really like just kind of quick flings. I kind of do want that deep emotional connection, so it wasn't for me, but I could definitely get for some people, you know, like, they have their reasons, and you only get one run at college, and... You know, let's be real. College is a time where you can be a little bit more sexually active than usual.
A lot more,
right? So, you know, for people who want to take advantage of that, you know, that's your cup of tea.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's some great advice. But with that, we're going to get into questions of the week.
Right on.
So on my Instagram, I do questions of the week. And I got a couple that I would love for you to answer.
All right, let's give it a go.
First one is, how does it feel having a famous sister?
You know what's funny is I don't know if fame's ever been a thing I read too much into. You know,
I don't think I'm famous. Please, God, no.
Oh, you've been on the TV show. You've got a podcast. Like you got more fame than I've got, certainly at the very least.
Okay,
right?
I'm like a G-list celebrity.
I mean, yeah, but, you know, it still counts. That counts. It's a technicality.
Yeah.
But it counts. But, yeah, I don't know if I ever read too much into fame. Like, that's why I didn't even, you know, I had an opportunity to get on our parents' House Hunters episode, and I didn't really chase after it too much, because, I don't know. I don't know if I really need to be in the foreground. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with, you know, occasionally being in the background or the midground, if you will. I don't need to be that front and center.
I agree. Like, I think that's, like, one of the biggest differences between us is, like, I've always... Maybe it's because, like, I was on dance and cheer and, like, more performing sports my whole life that I, like, have no problem being in the spotlight. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, no, I think it's just, like, it comes naturally to me to just be, like, very outspoken and, like... Although it also is, like, could be, like, my Achilles heel, because heaven forbid you're, like, having a rough day or you don't put on this, like, full-on 100% performance-type personality and everybody thinks, like, you're depressed, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You're expected to be this person that's, like, an entertainer more than just, like, a human sometimes.
Sometimes, but, you know.
But overall, the people who know me extremely well know me well enough to know, okay.
I would say, I think everybody has a right to, you know, be emotionally down or not running at 100%, right? We all go through things in life.
So my next question is fave and least or favorite thing about me. Ooh. About Maddie. But
I always wonder if they could both be the same thing. Oh, because, I mean, you kind of alluded to a bit earlier. I think you and I are generally both outgoing people, mm-hmm. but I think you much more so than me. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's great, because sometimes I need that. Sometimes I need that little nudge to be like, you know, dude, you're kind of being in the background too much. Be a main character, right?
Yes,
sometimes I need that nudge to
be a main character.
Be a main character and not an extra. But also sometimes when I think about where we butted heads in our childhood, I think that was also kind of a big difference to it too. Mm-hmm. Is I think you were just, you know, out there a bit more. And sometimes that was great for me, and sometimes, you know, you know,
irritating. Yes,
right. So I think they're both. I think that my answer is the same for both of them.
Yeah, no, and I get that, and I think when you do have like this big personality, like when you're a kid, you're like shaping that, so it is like irritating and like a lot. But then as you get older, you realize when to like be out there, when to not, when to reel it in, like how to read situations.
And that's one to grow on.
Yeah, and that's growth, people. That right there. Next question is advice on college and how to get a good job post-grad.
This is interesting. So advice on college, when I think about things I regret, you know, the one I mentioned before, go to office hours. Go to office hours. The few times I would get myself to actually do it was great. And I think of one class, I took a stats course that was semi-notoriously difficult. I mean, it wasn't like one where it's like, you know, 50% of people do not pass this class, but, you know, you had to put some serious work in. Mm-hmm. And I cannot remember my TA's name, but bless her soul, she was just she was just such a kind woman and a great teacher too. Like, I feel like she should have actually been, like, I think she was trying to be, you know, more a professor in her long-term career goals, but I think she should have been an actual teacher. So yeah, go to office hours and try to figure out between your professor and your TA which one's the better teacher of the two. Because unfortunately, good, bad, right, wrong, especially with UW-Madison being a research university, I feel like I had a lot of professors who were there for research and teaching was just a thing they had to do. Mm-hmm. But then I also had some professors where teaching seemed like something they genuinely enjoyed and genuinely had skills at. No, the getting a good job one is a little bit more difficult. One thing for me, I don't push myself enough on sort of extracurriculars, right? I feel like I didn't have a lot on my resume outside of academia, especially during college. You know, I did okay with doing, you know, things to get into college, right? You know, the leadership training program, you know, things of that nature. But try and find extracurriculars if you can, you know, communities of practice, or groups, you know, relating to the profession you want to get into. Because that helps with networking, which leads into my other point. Make a good recruiter friend. Have somebody who knows when job opportunities are coming up and who knows how to get you into that process early on. Because that was kind of how I got my current job. One of Dad's friends just was, you know, was like, hey, I know somebody there, this startup that just got bought out. They're expanding. They're looking for a data engineer. Why don't I get you connected, get you their resume and try to get you in on an interview or something. And I think it was just great because the job, you know, had like just become public. And there I am there, you know, immediately in on the process. And you know, I feel like if you get in on the process early, that's always a plus. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, try and find good communities of practice, good, you know, networking groups, and try and find somebody that's good to know, you know, a recruiter type person that's good to know.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a rounded answer. The last question we have is craziest memory together.
Craziest?
I was trying to think about this, too.
Is the Grand Canyon hike a good one?
Oh,
or do you think there's a crazier one?
That's like more childhood, but I think that's a good story. You should tell that one.
Oh, yeah. And feel free to jump in if I miss any details here, Maddie.
Okay.
But, so family vacation. And this was part of that first Vegas vacation we talked about really liking, right?
Yeah.
This was the first, not the second one,
No, this was the
right?
first, I'm pretty sure.
And yeah, so we do a little, almost weekend trip out to the Grand Canyon. And we go to do a hike, you know, for those who have never been to the Grand Canyon.
Right when we got there, by the way, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. First things first. And yeah, for those who haven't been to the Grand Canyon, you know, there's good hiking trails, and if you want, you can take it all the way down to the bottom, if you really want, right?
Mm-hmm. You usually have to camp, but, like, just so you know, like, to set the scene, we were in the clothes that we just, like, traveled in, so, like, no one besides my dad thought we were actually coming here to hike right away. He just told us we were going to look.
Right. But then once you go to look and you're right there, then it's like, well, come on, you know, we're right here,
come
right?
on, we'll just go on this hike.
So, yeah, we go down on this hike. We're in the Grand Canyon. We're in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Like, it is hot.
But going down, so you start and you're going down, which is easy.
Easy. That's no problem. But, you know, we start getting to a point, and I remember starting to have some doubts. When we start getting to a point, we're getting far enough down. The people coming up are looking pretty beat. I mean, pretty exhausted. And I'm starting to wonder, like, oh boy, is this going to be like, almost like the Grandma Joanne biking fiasco?
Oh, yeah.
You know, are we in for a bigger workout than we thought with no water, no food? Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately, spoiler alert, that's exactly what we were in for.
Oh, literally. Like, these people are drenched in sweat. People have walking sticks. People have backpacks. And, like, we are just dying. And then finally my mom's like, I think we should probably turn around. Like, we didn't even finish the hike. Okay, I think we did, like, we did multiple miles. Like, I think we thought we were going on the easy trail and we ended up on the medium, or I don't know. But long story short, it was straight up the whole way back. We're absolutely dying. Pretty sure I was wearing, like, flip-flops or, like, some shitty sandal.
Imagine doing, like, one of those stair-stepper machines for, like, an hour in, like, not workout clothes and with no water or food.
Yeah. And so then we get to the top, and there's this cute little graphic, tells you, like, what you need for each hike. And for the one that we did, you should have had 2 to 3 sandwiches, like 5 bottles of water
Per person.
And we all split 1 bottle of water.